Welcome to Mic'd Up Magic with Austin and Katelyn. You are listening to episode 24, our February Walt Disney World trip recap, where we will be breaking down our entire Walt Disney World vacation from February. We hope you enjoy.
We're back in action.
We're back. Woo, 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 woo.
The podcast is not dead. It has been revived.
It was just on a break, and it was an impromptu break. We totally did not plan on having a little break from the podcast, but what happened was we got back from our trip, and we basically just didn't want to record that weekend. And then when you just don't record one weekend, all of a sudden it turns into 6.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But that's fine.
But that's fine. We're good. We're here. We're refreshed. We're back. We are ready to yip and yap with you guys. So yeah, as we said in the intro, we are going to be breaking down everything from our Walt Disney World trip, which if you're only a podcast listener, which
if you're
I don't
living under a rock,
I don't think there's anybody who's just a podcast listener. But if you are only a podcast listener, yes, surprise, we went to Walt Disney World in February, and we did keep it a surprise. Like it was I feel like it was a pretty good surprise trip, and it was really a lot of fun. So maybe actually we should start out and talk about, because we've had a few like little updates around here that we could start out talking, because we're not doing news today. We could just talk about like what we've been up to in the last few weeks. Do you want to go? Do you have any updates, or you want me to just roll them off?
I don't know what you want to say.
Basically, if you're watching the podcast, I got a big haircut. That's a big difference.
Hair's gone.
I had my hair probably like mid torso when it was down and like actually like straightened and whatever.
Yeah.
It was probably like mid torso, mid back basically, and yeah, I've cut it to above my shoulders. So she's short, she's fresh. I'm excited. It'll be nice for the summer to have like no hair to worry about.
Yep.
So yeah, that's fun. I'm liking it so far. Other big update is that we got a new couch.
Yep.
Ooh, so exciting.
Very exciting.
So the couches that we had were ones that we had basically like bought from my mom's friend, like family friend, probably like 7-ish years ago.
Yep.
And we have had those ever since. And even when we bought it from them, like it was an old couch for them. So
yeah,
when we moved into this place, we said we wanted to get a couch, but we kind of were just like, we don't need one. We'll just, whatever. And as now we've gotten used to being here and we've figured out what we actually wanted, we were like, okay, yeah, we need a couch. We need something comfy, cozy that the two of us can hang out on, cuddle on, have people over, have friends over, and like actually be on a nice couch. So very happy with that.
Yes.
I feel like there's not a whole lot else really to update. We've kind of just been living life. Yeah. We've been playing a lot of games. We've been doing a lot of editing for me. I've been editing a lot of the Disney vlogs. If you, again, are only a podcast listener, we did film obviously every day of our trip. So those vlogs have been going out. I think I just uploaded, I think it was day 3. Yeah. But it was like the 4th vlog. So we're about halfway through. So that's exciting.
And then obviously Brianna vlogged as well. So all of her vlogs are already up. Yep.
So lots of videos for you guys to watch. But yeah, that's like basically it. It's been kind of crazy here too, like for weather wise. Like this is the first time that we've actually been able to like see grass in the last months and months and months. Well, basically like right when,
well, it just like snowed every day for like 2 months. It was absolutely horrible. So
it was like
we're finally getting rid of the snow. So
yeah, it was like right when we got home, it was just like crazy snowstorms every single day, like literally every day. Yeah. So it's nice that we finally are able to, have a little teaser of spring coming here. We still have plenty of snow, but yeah, anyways, it's nice, exciting.
Yeah. And then other than that, next weekend we have the pin event.
Yep,
which is super fun. So yeah, this will go up on Tuesday. So the pin event is actually this weekend coming up. Yeah. So Hamilton pin event, if you're in the area, check it out.
Yep, it's great. It's free to attend. Lots of pin traders there. Lots of other just like Disney merch there. I know we like always go and people always ask like, how do we know about the event? Like whatever. There's a Facebook group. Yep. So if we remember, we can leave it in the description or whatever of this podcast or video. But yeah, it is Saturday, March 22nd. Is that the date?
Who knows?
I think it's Saturday, March 22nd. I think it normally starts at like 10 o'clock.
Something like that, yeah.
And it goes to like 3-ish.
And so. we do not have a table.
No, we're just popping in this time. We'll probably be there for a few hours, but.
Yeah, we've kind of foregone the table going forward because.
Well, truthfully, we always mooched off of Brandon and Heidi.
Yeah.
They always were the ones to get the table.
They have foregoed the table. We've just like sold so much, like got rid of so much stuff over the years, like between us and them. Mm-hmm. So now we just like don't really need a table.
Yeah, and it's nice to have the table, but it's also kind of nice to be able to just go for like an hour or two, and we can leave when we want to, type of deal. Mm-hmm. And yeah. So, anyways, that's basically the breakdown of what's been going on, what's coming up. Let's jump in.
Sure.
Ready? So we have no notes necessarily for this episode. I thought, we can just kind of take it off the cuff. We can just go through our like camera roll and it will remind us of like what we did each day. Yes. And we can kind of just break everything down from there. So, ready?
Yeah. I mean, I think we'll kind of just start with the travel day. Mm-hmm. Well, obviously we'll start with the travel day, but this was the first time we had done a evening flight to go down to Orlando. So I think we ended up leaving at like 9.
We left on, January 31st. That was the day that we left.
Yeah, but it was at like 9?
It was like 9 p.m. was our flight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I actually worked that day. I left like 30 minutes earlier, an hour earlier or something.
Yeah.
And then we made it down to the airport and it was
smooth sailing.
Good. Yeah,
I was nervous because normally we do a morning flight. So like Austin said, so when we go for the mornings, it's like sometimes it's busy, sometimes it's not. So I was thinking like, a 9 p.m. flight, we have to get there like 2 to 3 hours ahead of time. Like it's going to be like 6 o'clock. I'm like, I'm nervous that it's going to be busy, like a rush hour type of deal. But it was the complete opposite. I think that most people like to travel in the morning because then you get to your destination and you have that whole day. So I feel like that maybe was why. So that was a bonus of the nighttime flight.
And I think like the other thing that was the reason we kind of did that, because originally we were going to go Saturday morning, but the flights were like half price comparing like Saturday morning to Friday night. So we wanted the cheaper flight. And then the other thing that normally you have to consider is then you would need an extra night at a hotel. But that also ended up working out because we were able to stay with Brianna and Corey just for that like small window of time of like sleeping for a couple hours before our room was ready the next day on the Saturday.
Which was very nice of them to let us
like it kind of just worked out like perfectly for us. It like we saved a good chunk of money just from being able to take that night flight and then not having to have an extra hotel room. So it kind of worked out very nicely and yeah, that was it was a very like smooth and nice travel experience.
Well, the flight was, and like getting to the airport, everything was good.
Oh yeah.
By the time we landed, it was around, I'm just like looking back at like timestamps on my phone here. But so basically like by the time we were getting our luggage, it was like 12:15 a.m. Like, middle of the day between this Friday and the Saturday, right?
Midnight.
We took mirrors. So when we've never had an issue with mirrors ever. We've always been very lucky where like we get there and it's like maybe we wait for like 5 minutes on the bus. Like we basically get there, we get on a bus right away, we wait 5 minutes and then we take off and we go and it's fine. I'm assuming that it was like this because it was late at night. They probably have less buses running with less people like coming through. But when we got there,
my thing is like you pay for the service.
100%.
So like I don't care what time it is.
Well, let me explain.
The service is what the service is.
Yeah, so basically when we got there, it was around like 12:30 when we got to like the rope of mirrors, and there was nobody else in the building, and the person who was working, she came up to us and she basically said, okay, like you have a couple options. Either you have to wait here for at least 20 to 30 minutes for the next bus to come. You will get on that bus and then they have a rule, I assume, that they have to wait at least 20 minutes for other people to get there and then they will go. So we would either have to wait for basically an hour between standing in line and then getting on a bus and then sitting on a bus for 20 more minutes before we can even leave. Or there was one bus there that was just about to leave, she said it was literally about to leave. And she said, you would be the last stop though, which would be like the 4th hotel. And we said, well, we would rather just be the last hotel stop, because I would rather just be sitting on the bus and we can just go, and like regardless where the last hotel, it's going to be like what, an hour 15 maybe for us to get there. Like that was, you know, in our brain, like what was going to happen. So we got on the bus. We basically were sitting on the bus for another 15 minutes. Like they didn't even leave. And then by the time that they left, we stopped at another location, picked up more people, waited there for another 10 minutes. Let me give it the benefit of the doubt. And then we took off, and then we went to all these hotels. And again, this was like our prerogative where we didn't know what hotels they were going to first. So all the hotels they were going to were in like the Disney Springs area. So it was the complete opposite area, obviously, of where we were going. But by the time that we got, like, let me see what time it was. Sorry. By the time that we got to the Polynesian, it was 2 a.m. So at 12:30 was when we were getting in line. Like we were getting on the bus at 12:30, and we didn't get there until 2.
Yeah. Like
an hour and a half is a long time, in my opinion, for when there was quite literally no one there. Like, I feel like when it's late at night, you should be able to be pumping those buses through. Like, I don't know. It was maybe we were just tired and grumpy and just wanted to get to our hotel, and maybe that's why we kind of like had a gripe about it.
But it's what, like a 30-minute drive?
Yeah, it's like 30 minutes.
Like, yeah, it just didn't seem very
efficient. And it kind of was like at the point where like Austin and I had said, and we'll get to at the end of our trip, our other issue with mirrors, but it got to the point where it was like, we were talking on the way there, we were like, maybe it's worth it to pay the extra $15 to just get an Uber, you know, like just so that you get in your car and you get to where you need to go. So that was like our first experience. So it wasn't the greatest. Also, we felt bad because we were already mooching essentially a room off of our friends. And we had told them like, okay, like, you know, we're going to land at 11:50, 11:45. We should hopefully be there by 12:30, and we don't get there until 2. It's like, oh my gosh, like that is like, so long for them to have to sit and stay up. They also arrived early in the morning that day. So they had been up all day. And then they were waiting up for us even longer. So it's like, we felt guilty for that as well. Yeah. So it was just a whole thing. And it's just, you know, whatever. It is what it is.
It was fine.
It didn't affect the trip at all. No. But it was just something to note, where it's like normally when we go with mirrors, we're very much like, we love mirrors. Mirrors is great. It's amazing. Yeah. It was just like a different experience for us. It was the first time where we were like, okay, well, obviously there's some hiccups. And we've heard hiccups before. But anyways.
Yeah, yeah.
That was my 20-minute long spiel about mirrors. But, you know, it's good to mention because normally, like we said, we are always like, mirrors is great.
Yes.
So anyways, so after the mirrors fiasco, we got to the Polynesian. We went right to Brianna and Corey's room, which is great. So like we said, we stayed for most of the trip, we were with our friends. Yeah. Brianna and Corey, if you don't know who they are, we will leave all their stuff down below. But it was very exciting because we haven't seen Brianna in like a year and a half, and we only had never her for like an hour or two when we had seen her. And then Corey, we both actually have never met in person at that point. So it was really fun. So we got there, we like got to their room. It was so much fun. We stayed up for another like hour and a half, just like talking and whatever, figuring out our stuff. They were very sweet, and they had like, Brianna had picked up some stuff for me, like leading up to the trip. So she had that stuff laid out on the bed for us. They bought us resort mugs, which was very nice and kind of them to do. So it was just a really fun, like, arrival moment to be like with our friends, excited for the trip. Yeah, it was really fun.
So day one, of course, you have to go to Magic Kingdom. So we got up bright and early. I think we got like 3 hours of sleep.
We quite literally had 3 hours of sleep.
And then we were at Magic Kingdom for rope drop.
Yeah. So it was very fun.
And we had Genie that day.
Multi-pass.
And we may have, I think, what was the first ride we did? Peter Pan?
Oh my gosh. That was what we rope dropped.
Yeah. Yeah. So we rope dropped Peter Pan. First ride of the trip. That was good. That's like your thing. Like that's like your...
Well, I haven't done that in a really long time.
But like as a kid, like growing up, that was like your thing. Yeah. Like you just always thought that was a good ride to do first. Yeah. Also rope dropping, it's good because that line is always atrocious. So
well, even like rope drop, we waited like quite a bit of time.
Yeah. But the the big moment of the morning was we did Tiana's.
Well, I'm just like, we did multiple things before we got to Tiana's.
Yeah, but we're not going to like say absolutely everything we did. Like, we're going to be here for a week. For sure. So the big moment of the morning was Tiana's, and we love Tiana's. We love Splash. We love Tiana's, the changeover. So we were like, okay. So we went to do it anyways. And
wait, what time was it though?
I don't know.
It was like 10 a.m. because we had multi-pass for the day, and we had purchased one of the multi-passes for Tiana's around 2. Mm-hmm. And then when we woke up in the morning, we got the virtual queue.
Because at that point, it was still virtual queue.
Yeah, so we got virtual queue. So the virtual queue had popped right away. We missed it. And then they were like, oh, well, you can just go at whatever time. So then we ended up going at 10. So sorry.
Yeah, because we never got a notification.
It was weird.
But anyways, so we go there at like 10 o'clock. And when I say we all got like more soaked than we have ever gotten in our lives on any ride
of that ride,
it was absurd. Like, it looked like we had gone on Kali River Rapids and you were like the chosen one on Kali River Rapids, like,
and then some.
It was insane. There was a waterfall just like came over top of me and just soaked. Like, it was crazy. And it was 10 a.m. and it wasn't hot at all.
But the other thing is that when we were getting on the ride, Brianna had said, normally I like to request the back 2 rows. And I said, well, it's fine. Like, we'll just let fate decide type of deal. We'll just take whatever they give us. And when they gave us our ride, we were rows 1 and 2. And when we went with your sister, I was in row 1.
Well, we've just never gotten that wet.
And that's what I mean. Like, that's why I literally never even thought that we would get that soaked. I knew we would get wet, but I was like...
Yeah, and like, obviously it's a water ride. Like, you're going to get wet. And we weren't like mad we got wet. But no. It was just crazy. Like, we were dripping, all 4 of us. Corey wasn't as bad. Me and Corey had like the Roosevelt shirts on, so they're like a better material like to get wet. Yeah, like it was okay, but like, you guys,
we were in jean shorts. Our shorts were absolutely like I went like this on my butt, and if you're just listening, I I squeezed, like I wrung it out almost, and it was literally like a pool of water, like a stream of water coming from my shorts.
Like, basically what ended up happening was we went back to the hotel at 10:30 or 11 o'clock or something.
It was 11.
To do an outfit change. Like, we'd only been in the parks for a couple hours and done like 2 or 3 rides, but we were like, we are going back to change because we are all going to be absolutely miserable.
Yeah.
So,
which honestly was the best decision we could have made.
For sure it was.
Because we had already done a couple rides, and it wasn't like we were like going to have a break. It was more just like we went back, we changed. It took us like an hour.
Yeah.
Between the time that we left the park to get back to the park, and it was the best. Also, it was actually a little bit colder than we had anticipated. Yes. So we all went back with like sweaters or like just sweatshirts, long sleeves, whatever, and it was perfect. And then that way it was like, it set us up for the evening because we didn't have to go back to the hotel later. We just were able to go to Hollywood Studios, which
and that was kind of like the whole trip. The weather was cool. We didn't get any rain. There wasn't a drop of rain the entire week we were there, which was absurd because there's always rain. But there also wasn't any sun. So it wasn't, there wasn't any sun and there wasn't any rain. It was just kind of like overcast, middle of the road temperatures. So that's just kind of like a note for like the whole trip.
Yeah, we were very lucky too, because apparently it's normally very rainy in Florida in February. Like, that's just kind of like the weather. But no, we were really lucky that literally like Austin said, not a drop of rain. It was crazy. Yeah. But yeah, so we did Magic Kingdom for most of the morning, and then we flipped over to Hollywood Studios for the evening. I think we got in Hollywood Studios around like 4 o'clock. So we went there. We did all the rides again. We had multi-pass. This was also our first. Oh no, we did a multi-pass with your sister for one day.
We also we did not touch Galaxy's Edge.
Oh, when we did Hollywood Studios. Yeah. But we did literally everything else other than we did Tower that day.
Yeah, we did a lot that afternoon.
We literally did everything other than Hollywood, or other than Galaxy's Edge, yeah. Mm-hmm. But then we ended up taking the early showing of Fantasmic. Yeah. Because we said, you know what? We still have a week left. Like, this is our first day. Yeah. We need to pace ourselves. So,
and we're all on 3 hours of sleep.
Yeah. So we said, let's do the early showing of Fantasmic. We will go home early, in quotes. And we'll have a nice rest, and then we'll get up nice and early for the next day. So we did Fantasmic early. It was like an 8:00 showing or something. Fantastic as always, fabulous, love Fantasmic. And then we kind of went our separate ways. The amazing thing too was we never said we stayed at the Grand Floridian, and Brianna and Corey stayed at the Polynesian. So it was really nice because I didn't know this going into it, but when you're taking the bus system from any of the parks, the Polynesian and the Grand Floridian have the same bus system. So it was nice that like we were always kind of with them, even for transportation from our own hotels. Because we originally had said when we talked about like them switching to the Polynesian, we said like, oh, well, we could, meet up at the same hotel and then take transportation, but it just worked that we were able to take the same transportation. So that was kind of fun. So anyways, we went our separate ways. We checked into the Grand Floridian at that point.
Yeah. And what we actually did was when we went back to change, did we drop our bags off?
Yes. When we went
back. So when we went back to change after we rode Tiana's, we dropped our bags at Bell Services and then they transferred them over to the Grand. So then at night when we finally checked in and got into our room, we just called down and then they brought all of our bags up. So it was really smooth and easy. Like just go to Bell Services, like they'll just help you and you get a little ticket and then it's super seamless if you're transferring resorts, which we had never done before. So that was like a good thing to know how to do, and like that we've actually done it now.
Yeah, it was really fun.
Super smooth and seamless.
Yeah, so it was great. Yeah. It makes me more like, not that I wasn't against doing a split stay, like because we have done one before, but when we did our split stay before, we had driven, so we had taken our own luggage. Yeah. But it was very, very seamless, and I'm like, okay, 100% we'll do a split stay again in the future because it was just like you didn't have to worry about your bags. It was amazing. So we went to the Grand. We ended up going to, I think, like one of the gift shops, bopped around there for a minute, went to our room. Oh my gosh, you need to go to our day one vlog and watch that and see how beautiful our room was. We were so incredibly lucky where when we got there, we first of all in the Grand, like because there's different buildings, like you could be in the main building, you could be in like the side buildings, whatever. The building we were in, first of all, was the best location that you could have had. It was a DVC building. I think it's called the Big Pine or something, or the Grand Pine. I think it's the Big Pine. But you, it's like right when you leave the main building. It's perfect. It's right in the middle of the resort. And when we went in, when you go into these middle buildings, it's kind of like a mini lobby essentially. So there's like, it's kind of like a circle or an oval, and there's 4 floors, I believe. And when you go up to your floor, basically there's a circle where there's rooms, and then there's a bunch of there's 2 hallways either end of this like long building. So you could be walking very far to get to your room. We were literally so lucky that we were in that main center circle on the top floor. And when we walked in our room, in the corner, we had vaulted ceilings. It literally, our room felt humongous. I could not believe how big our room felt. It was amazing. I was blown away at how nice our room was. Yeah.
And then we had on the balcony, we had like a lake view, and we were looking over at the Poly, and you could see Spaceship Earth and like way in the distance.
Yeah. It was very, very far away.
So it was, the room was great.
Yeah, it was amazing. And we
the resort was great. The only thing about the resort was the one pool was closed, so the main pool was just like completely slammed the whole time.
And their main pool is small.
Yeah, but it was perfect in this scenario because Brianna and Corey were there at the Poly, so we just went to the Poly every single time to go to the pool.
Technically you're not allowed to do. So just,
well, they were staying there.
Take it with a grain of salt. I know, but you're not really supposed to like pool hop.
Yeah, we were with them.
Yeah. So anyways, technically you're not supposed to do that, but
Disney don't come for me.
It also wasn't busy at all. Like it wasn't like we were taking space away from anybody who was staying at the Poly.
There was like nobody at that pool.
Well, it's because it wasn't like hot.
I know, but still, it was still like relaxing and
so relaxing.
Yeah. So and it was brand new. It had opened
a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. We something I kind of already knew this about myself, but this trip really solidified it for me, is that I am much more of a quiet pool person versus a like loud pool person. Yeah. because like when we stayed at the Riviera, I didn't step foot in the main pool area where the pool slide is. We just stayed at the quiet pool the entire time, and it was the best pool of my life. And it was the same situation where when we went to the Grand Floridian, the only pool that was open was the loud pool. And oh my gosh, I was tweaking. Like I was like, we stayed there. Like we went and stayed there once. We're kind of jumping back and forth a lot on this trip, so sorry about that. But we stayed at the pool for maybe an hour the one day, and I could not. I was like, I hated how close all the chairs were. It was like you felt like you were sardines in these chairs. The loud music, the like people playing games on the pool deck, and I feel like there's going to be a time and a place for it. And while we do not have to be around children and the main pool and like kids and games and entertainment for children, I'm like, I don't need to be here. I can fully just like, I wish that I would just go to the quiet pool. I don't have to listen to the things screaming and whatever. And
like we went, like you said, we went there one day for like an hour or so, and then the only other times I went there was I filled up my mug there once on the way over to the Poly, and then we had our showers there on our checkout day.
And the showers at that pool are beautiful. The
pool
showers, they were great,
fantastic.
But no, and when we stayed there, like when we did the pool day, like there was a pool game going on where it was like the person running, I forget what they're called, but like the cast member that was running the like pool games or whatever, they were doing like a scavenger hunt essentially, where it was like bring me this, and like I'm not against children. Like they were looking for a resort mug, and none of their parents had a resort mug, and they were behind us, and I said, here, take my resort mug. And so they took my resort. Like I'm not against the kids. Okay. I'm just saying, we
know you're not a grouch. Come on.
No, I know, but that's what I mean. But I'm like, but I would just much prefer to just like have my own space, not be sardined.
When you're taking a relaxing afternoon, like you want to be able to relax.
I want to be able to just chill. And like I'm a person that I like to just like sit in the pool and like swim around and do my own little thing. But like literally we couldn't even go in the pool with how crowded it was.
No.
Like
the main pool,
we went in the main pool, we stood in one little area, and I was like, we can't really do much else. So
no.
And that's nothing on the Grand Floridian. It was just the one pool was closed. So I would like to go back there when both pools are open just to see actually how the pool situations are. But yeah, anyways, that was a whole tangent about the pools. But.
Geez, holy.
Well, it's because you brought it up. You brought up the pools. You said the only gripe about the Grand Floridian is the pools. We're 30 minutes in and we're only on day 2.
Yeah, well.
Okay, well, leading into day 2, we went to Epcot for the full day. So we did have park hoppers. So we did have park hopper, but we said we have never done Festival of the Arts before. And I said, I want to prioritize Festival of the Arts today. I want to do it the whole day. I want to just take our time in Epcot and just do our thing. So we did Festival of the Arts, and like
spoiler alert,
we loved it.
Yep.
I think it was amazing. We could do a whole episode, I feel like, on Festival of the Arts, so we won't get too like in detail of Festival of the Arts because I really would like to talk about it at nauseum. But yeah, so we love Festival of the Arts. So when we got to Epcot, we had multi-pass for this day. We did all our rides right off the bat in the morning because the showcase isn't open until 11. So we said, you know what, we'll rope drop, we'll get there really nice and early, and we will do all our rides right off the bat, and then that way we don't have to worry about them. We will go and like experience the festival. We took a couple little breaks to do like the odd ride here and there, but then we did a lot of festival stuff. So I think the way we planned it was amazing. It was like by the time we were done our rides, I think it was around 12 o'clock. So we were just like, we were rolling. But yeah, we basically did every ride there with multi-pass.
Did we do Frozen?
We didn't do Frozen.
Yeah, I don't think we did.
That was the only ride we didn't do. But and we had a multi-pass for it. We just ended up going back early at the end of the night because we were all kind of tired. But we were able to do every single ride. Yeah. And to talk on multi-pass for a minute, I am the biggest hater of it simply because we have been able to go so many times with Fast Pass being free. That is the biggest reason why I do hate on multi-pass.
Well, and because if you're very organized, you can still ride everything.
Yes.
If you but you have to put in a lot more effort, and you have to be up super early to rope drop, and you have to do all these things. So and that's how we kind of just do it anyways. But multi-pass is pretty pretty nice.
Yeah. So we really did enjoy it, and it was definitely more expensive. It was definitely more of a, we had to budget essentially, like knowing ahead of time, like, okay,
it's a luxury.
Yeah, we're going to pay for this. Like, this is going to be something we pay for. We didn't do as many sit down restaurants as we wanted to do because I said, we're paying for this day. Let's not do sit down restaurants on these days. But yeah, it was really fun. I think going forward, depending on the time of year and whatever, I could see us doing multipass for like 1 or 2 days of our trip.
Yeah.
Because it is a great way to get a lot done.
Yeah, for like a Magic Kingdom or Hollywood Studios, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, so anyway, so we did that. We did Festival of the Arts. We ate a bunch of food around the area. We kind of shopped around, looked around. It was great. And then what we ended up doing was we left Epcot early.
Was there like a top 2 things of festival stuff?
First was that I got to buy some art. You got to buy some art. I'm very happy about that. And my other top thing was probably the painting, the little like paint by number thing that you can do. Those are probably my top 2.
Nice.
What about you?
Yeah, I think the art, the Acme booth was just like, I could have bought like everything in that darn booth.
Yeah.
Like, and it was, this is just a funny story, which I'll say, but we were looking at this painting and it was Star Wars Rebels painting, and we both love Rebels and whatever. So I was going to get it. And you were saying, oh, like, I love this so much and whatever. You're just gushing about this art. And then there's a girl sitting there like at the table, the artist, and she's like, oh yeah. And then how did it come up? I said,
oh, like, I just love these characters. Like, this is amazing. And she goes, oh, I said to Austin, I said, you should get it 100%. And then I'm like, you should get it. And she goes, yeah, well, and the artist is here. Yeah. And I said, oh, who's the artist? You? And then she goes, yeah. And I was like, oh my gosh. I had just been like,
it was like 5 minutes of us just like talking about
gushing about this
art.
And
she's like, yeah, that's me. And we're like, oh.
I'm like, well, that's good that she gets to hear like a genuine, authentic, like, didn't know that was the artist.
So it was cool because anyways, like, I got the piece of art and then I got her, like, she signed it as well. Yeah. So it was just like a cool little experience. Yeah. And then the one that you also got signed.
Yeah, so, by my artist. So it was really cool. And again, like, not to go too much into like the Festival of the Art thing, but I think that is one of the coolest things, is that you get to buy art, but then also like experience and talk to the artists that are there. I think that is just like such a cool experience to be able to do. Yeah. Especially for the artists, I think. Like, for them to be able to meet the people that are buying their art, because I feel like a lot of them do sell stuff online, or they sell stuff in Disney Springs or whatever, but they're not actually there. They don't get to see the people that are buying the art.
Well, and like, you just get to see some people, like some cool people.
Yeah, like we saw, what's his name? Tony Baxter.
Yeah.
Like, that's
He's just sitting there signing autographs. We walked by, we're like, holy jeez.
Yeah, so it was really cool. It was a really fun experience. Again, not to go too much into it, but definitely it's my favorite festival by far of Epcot. So, yeah. But yeah, so we ended up going back early this night. We didn't plan on going back early. We were like going to stay like right till the end of the night, but we all hit a wall, I think, at the exact same time, and because we didn't do a break this day. So I think that really did catch up with us. And going back, I kind of wish we would have done like a little break, just so that we could have lasted a little longer at night. But the night was really fun. So it's,
but then like you take a break, like you take a break in the middle, or you go back early, like it's the same.
No, for sure. But the only thing was that we didn't ever get to do the Broadway
that is true
show, and we would have been able to if we took a break. So that was the only my only gripe. But yeah, so we went back early. We ended up going to the pool, Brown and Corey's pool. We like spent some time there. We went in the hot tub. We had some like little drinks. We opened some pin boxes. It was really fun. It was a really fun night. And then it was funny, by the time that the pool was closed, or we were done with the pool, we were like, well, we don't want to go back yet. Like we're not done hanging out with our friends yet. So we ended up going to their room. We had dinner, like a late dinner in their room. And then we walked back over to the Grand Floridian, which was amazing. We were so happy with, again, the location.
Well, because their building was the closest other than the tower, and ours was
second closest.
Yeah. to the the buildings were super close, because if we would have been on the other ends, that would have been a long walk. Like that would have added an extra 10-15 minutes for sure.
Yeah.
But we were both so close to each other, it was nice and easy.
Yeah, it was really nice. So we walked over, and then we walked back to our hotel, went to bed, and that was that. It was a pretty chill day. It was very nice day. I think honestly that was probably my favorite day of the trip. If I'm totally honest, I think that was my favorite day of the trip.
Yeah.
Nice. So then moving into the next,
we had a super fun day the next day.
The next day was our technical
day.
It
was a not park day. I wouldn't even call it a rest day. It was a not park day.
Yeah. So
not even not park day. It was
because we went to a park.
Yeah, I was like, geez.
It was our technical rest day.
Yeah.
So we woke up in the morning. Austin and Corey had a golf tea time. So where did you guys golf?
Lake Buena Vista,
which is at Old Key West. Is that technically where it's at? I think it's Old Key West.
So yeah,
but you go through Old Key West, Saratoga Springs, and I think you're like on the river where Port Orleans and stuff is.
Yes.
So they did that in the morning, and then Brianna and I went and had brunch at the Grand Floridian Cafe, and then we went to Disney Springs and did a little shopping, and then we all got back together and went to the pool and had a chill little pool day, and then we went for dinner at Narcoossee's, which is my favorite restaurant at Disney World, and then we did the after hours event. We'll come back. I just wanted to give an overview of how much stuff we did.
Oh, yeah.
So go to your golf.
Oh, we're going back all the way to the
Yeah.
Okay. No, I don't know.
If you want to talk about it.
It was golf. We had a fantastic time. Nice early tea time. The courses are always in such good shape. The amenities are great. Like everything is just always so smooth and nice. That's the second time I've played at Disney. I think it was the second time for Corey too.
Second or third, I can't remember.
And yeah, it was great, fantastic. We had an amazing time. Yeah,
perfect. And then Brianna and I loved our breakfast at Grand Floridian Cafe. It was so good. Spoiler alert: I ended up liking it so much that me and Austin ended up going to the Grand Floridian Cafe again later in our trip for a lunch, because I was like, it was really good, and it was really good the second time we went too.
Yep.
So that was really good. It was fun going to Disney Springs in the morning. We don't normally do that because normally, obviously, we don't really take rest days when we go on trips, but we did the Disney Springs. Really fun to just bop around, kind of do our shopping, whatever. And then, sorry, where did you want to head to when you were like, slow down?
No, I was just going to say when we went to Narcoossee's, we were walking to Narcoossee's in our like nice outfits.
Oh, yeah.
And there was a PhotoPass guy who was just like walking around the grounds of the Grand Floridian. And he's like, do you guys want some pictures?
Well, we actually went up and asked him because we were taking selfies. And I was like, well, let's see if he'll just take like a photo for us kind of thing. I was thinking he was just going to pull out his camera, take a little like a little shot, and then let's be on our way.
Nope.
But he had us like posing, and like he was like, here, come this way, and we like sat by a little water fountain, and we did a couple poses. It was like, again, the PhotoPass in my opinion are cheesy, but you do get some fun memories out of them for sure. And because Brianna and Corey have the annual pass with PhotoPass, we were able to get the downloads for it, so that was really nice. Yeah, it was fun. I was going to say this was actually the day too that we had planned on going to the pool at the Grand Floridian this day because we were doing the like breakfast at the Grand, dinner at the Grand. We had planned on staying at the Grand for like basically the whole day. But this was the day that by the time that we got down to the pool, we had sat down at the pool. Corey and Brianna were ready to just like hang out at this pool. They didn't care how busy it was. And I was just like, I'm like, I can't do it. I'm like, I cannot do it. Can we please walk over to your room? And they were like, we have no gripe about it because then when we're done with the day, we can just go to our room. You guys are the ones that have to walk back. And I said, I would so much rather just walk back than
deal with this.
Yeah. So we ended up walking over, and I will say they were very surprised at how quick their walk was because they hadn't done the walk yet. They had just been jumping on the monorail when they were come to see us. So they were like, oh wow, we were actually really surprised at how just like easy this walk is. So that was a fun little experience. We did the Narcoossee's again, like my favorite easily meal at Disney World, like their dinner. It's freaking delicious. The surf and turf is amazing. You even had fish. Like you got scallops, didn't you? I was shocked when the scallops came out. I was like, wait, what did you get? Because Austin's not normally a seafood person.
Yep.
So we had our koozies for dinner, and it was perfect timing. We had our dinner at 5, and then we were there for basically an hour and a half. Went back to our room quick. We all changed, and then we headed into Magic Kingdom for the after hours event, which was very fun. Again, I feel like we'll do a episode all about the after hours event, so we can kind of talk about that. But it was really fun. It was the first time we had ever done an after hours event that wasn't like a party, like a Halloween party or whatever. And it was really fun. It was a great time. We were there from 7 until 1 a.m. It was great. Loved it.
Yeah. It was super cool. We get to see 2 fireworks shows, free snacks, drinks, rides.
Lots of rides.
It was great.
It was really fun. So that was great.
We'll kind of leave it at that if you want to talk about it more in another episode.
Yeah. We'll leave it at that. But it was a great experience. And it was nice that it was half nice. It was half nice that it was closed. We can talk about this really quick because I think this is something to note regardless of.
Oh, yeah.
Regardless of if you're staying in an after hours event or not.
Crazy.
So when we booked this trip, we said, okay, we're staying at the Grand Floridian, right? We're right by Magic Kingdom. When I looked into the after hours events, I said, oh, amazing. There's an after hours event at Magic Kingdom. We're staying at the Grand Floridian. When this is done, we're going to be able to just hop on the monorail and head back home.
Boom.
Perfect. Easy. We're not going to have to wait for a bus. It's going to be amazing. Why wouldn't we book this after hours event? Well, when we left the after hours event, and we didn't stay way past the end of it, okay? It wasn't like we were extending our time at all, okay? Maybe this is on us because we didn't look into it, but truthfully, this was not something I thought I had to look into.
Which, this is a Disney problem. Skyliner too.
Oh, yeah. Like, Skyliner's better.
No. Issue with the Skyliner.
Oh, yes. Sorry. So, we should have looked into, I guess, what time the monorail closed at, because when we left the park at like 1:50, let's say 1:20. Let's say it was 1:20.
Either way, it doesn't matter. Like
the party closed at 1. We probably were out of the park by 1:15.
The monorail wasn't open.
The monorail wasn't open. The boats weren't open. You had to take a bus. So we were like, oh, okay. Which, you know, I'm not against the buses, but when we're staying at the Grand Floridian and we're going to the Magic Kingdom,
and the park's open till 1, like you have to have, like, why isn't the transportation running?
Yeah. So we were kind of like, oh, so we're like, it's fine. We'll just take a bus. So we get in line for this bus. We were in line for the bus for probably 30 minutes.
Took forever.
I could not believe it. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, this is crazy. So then when we got on the bus, normally, again, when you're on a bus from other resorts, you're just getting on the bus to go to the Poly or the Grand Floridian. But since the whole monorail's closed, they got to do the whole dang monorail loop.
Oh, and we're the last stop.
We're the last stop. So we had to go to the Contemporary, waited there. Then we went to the Polynesian, waited there. And then we finally got to the Grand Floridian. By the time we were home, it was like 2:15.
Yeah.
I was like, what the heck? So again, it was just this situation of like, I guess you kind of have to look at what time the things close. So I assume that the monorail closed an hour after the park officially closed. We thought it would be an hour after the park closed for whatever was going on.
Yeah.
So I don't know. This probably happens, I guess, for the Halloween parties, the Christmas parties.
Yeah, and just to kind of go on a little tangent quickly about what I was saying about the Skyliner.
Yeah.
It's the same issue because at Hollywood Studios, when there's 2 showings of Fantasmic, the second one starts after the park is already closed.
Yeah.
So if you stay for that second show, if you don't boogie your butt out of there right after that show to get in line for the Skyliner, the Skyliner closes.
Yeah.
And then you can't get to the Riviera.
Yeah.
Or the Caribbean Beach or the Pop or the Animation. Yep. You have to take a bus to Disney Springs and then get on a bus to go to your hotel.
But you can't even from Hollywood Studios, yes. But imagine you were at Epcot.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing then?
I know. It's crazy.
How are you getting anywhere from the back of Epcot? They must keep the Epcot one open longer.
No, because they closed the Skyliner.
Yeah, I don't know.
You have to walk all the way to the front.
It's crazy.
Or you have to go to the boardwalk.
Yeah, you probably have to go to the boardwalk.
Which is what we have done before.
Yeah.
Like, so just kind of like an overall general statement of if you're using a different form of transportation other than buses and it's late at night, just keep an eye on the times.
Pay attention to when it closes.
Ask what time it closes. Just be aware that it's probably not going to be open if you stay right to the end, or if you have an after hours or something, a late dining reservation, or like you might get stuck.
Yeah. Yeah. And this isn't the same thing for when the park is open for extended evening hours, which is surprising. No. Because when we stayed for extended evening hours before, we've never had an issue.
No.
And we stay right till the end, right? It's literally just for when the park closes on like a normal occasion and there's something else going on.
Yeah.
A party or
I think the best example is Fantasmic, because I don't know if there's really anything else that starts after the park is closed.
No.
Other than the second showing of Fantasmic when they do too.
Yeah.
So that's the big one where like we were lucky. Like we had a scenario where we did see the second show and we got there quickly, and we were like one of the last like 10 people in line, and then there was a guy standing there saying the Skyliner is closed, and there was like 50 people who were losing their minds.
Yeah, it was crazy,
because they're like, how do we get back to our hotel now?
Yeah. And let me say, we weren't like that when we found out the monorail was closed. We were just like, oh, okay, we'll just go to the bus. Like we were causing a stink.
But it is that.
But we were.
Oh, after a full day, like that is. That's a disaster.
It's annoying for sure. So, but just, learn from our mistakes.
We'll stop ranting about it, but
learn from our mistakes and just make sure you're at least asking, okay, what time does the monorail close at? What time does the Skyliner close at? Just so that you don't run into those situations, or so that you at least know. Because if we just knew, like, okay, we're going to have to take a bus at the end of the night, we would honestly just been a little bit more prepped for it. We were just literally like on our way out being like
what?
Oh, it's so nice. We're going to be able to just jump on the monorail and get home right away. And then we got out there, we were like, what? Nope. And then it was another hour to get home, which is crazy because I'm like, I could jump in this lake and swim across quicker than this bus. Oh, I know. He's crazy. So that was the experience. But overall, again, it was fun, but something to know. And then the next day after that, we were crazy people. So by the time we were home, it was 2 a.m. We went to bed at like 2 a.m., 2:15, whatever. And then we said, we're going to rope drop Animal Kingdom.
Oh, yeah.
But it was a great experience. Yeah. Truly. It was crazy. I felt completely rested. We were running on 4 hours of sleep. I was like up and ready to go for a park rope drop.
That's all you need at Disney. Come on.
Yeah, it's fine. It also helped, I think, that because we had a really chill day, realistically, the whole day before, it was like...
Well, I mean, I golfed.
Well, okay, fine. This is how I felt. I felt that I had a chill day the day before. And I was fine to go for rope drop at Animal Kingdom in the morning.
Hey,
we were still with Brianna this day, so Corey had to work this day. So he like worked from their hotel, worked from home, worked from their hotel. But Brianna came with us, and she ended up not rope dropping with us. She met up with us, I think, like 2 hours after we got there, because she was feeling a little bit under the weather. She wanted to take it slower, which man, I get it.
Oh yeah.
So it was fun though. We got to go in the morning. We did all of Pandora basically right off the bat, and then we had breakfast, and then we met up with Brianna, and then we had a individual lightning lane for this day for Flight of Passage, just so that she could do it, and we obviously wanted to do it with her. So we did that, and then after that we were like, it was the slowest we've ever done a park, I think, and it was so much fun. We just like moseyed around the park. We took our time. We like waited in a long line for the safari, but we were like, we don't care. We're all just kind of sitting here talking. Like, it's fine. We ended up going to Rafiki's. We finally got to do the animation experience again for Austin because he loves doing that experience. I do too, but like, it's like one of your favorite things. So it was really fun. We got to do that. Brianna's never done that before, so she got to do it for the first time. It was really fun. It was a really fun day. And then we ended up heading out, I think around like 4. And then as we were like leaving, we went to our resorts. We got ready, and then we ended up going to Disney Springs for the evening. We met back up with Corey at this point because he was done work for the day. And then we went to Wine Bar George for dinner. And sorry, I'm going to jump back a bit to the beginning of the day, just to talk about breakfast really quickly.
I was trying to, but...
Sorry. I was just like on a spiel. But yeah, we had breakfast at Satu'li Canteen. And if you don't know, Satu'li Canteen had breakfast when they first opened. And it was very basic. And they ended up closing it, I think, around the pandemic. And then they never brought it back. But then recently, in the last few months, they have brought it back. And it was delicious. Mm-hmm. It was so good. I will say, though, if you want to have breakfast, you have to prioritize it because they only serve it from like 8 till 10. Like, it's a quick little 2-hour bit that you can get it from.
But let's be honest, who doesn't rope drop?
Pandora.
Pandora.
Exactly. So. Exactly. So it's like, it does make it easy.
And like, we do love doing the Yak and Yeti quick service breakfast sandwiches and the Joffrey's across the hall, like as our breakfast. But it's pretty darn nice to not have to run across the park back and forth to go from Pandora to Asia and then back to Africa to do the safari. So it's nice to just go Pandora and then we can go right to Africa.
Mm-hmm. But it was delicious. We had I had like a French toast situation with like a blueberry cream cheese. Oh my gosh, it was so good.
I had like a hash bowl or something, I think. Sausage and
it was something like that. It was very good. Delicious. Very, very good. So highly recommend checking that out if you're wanting a like breakfast. It was nice too because you're up so early for Animal Kingdom, it's nice to just take 20-30 minutes to sit down and have a little breakfast. And it felt, the food felt like it was like a sit down breakfast. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? It didn't feel like a little quick service, like, no. Egg and cheese kind of sandwich. It was like a substantial meal, and there was a lot of options too. We only picked 2 of them, obviously, but I think there was like five or so options you could pick from. It was pretty good. So we had a lovely day at Animal Kingdom. I loved it. I love taking it slow. Animal Kingdom is my favorite park, and there is nothing I like better than just like taking our time walking through. We rode Dinosaur for like the last time. Did we ride Dinosaur that day?
I mean, I think so.
Surely we had to. Yeah. Okay, cool. It was great. It was wonderful. And then, like we said, we went to Disney Springs for the evening. We had Wine Bar George, which we had never eaten at Wine Bar George before. No. I was very excited to go into it. Yeah. It's a very different experience. So Wine Bar George is definitely more of like just like a casual food experience. Like when you're going there, it's more so for the wine. I think they have like over 100 and something wines. And there's only a couple options for like food, like on your menu it's like there's like 7 items total, I think, for food. But it's a very good spot to have if you are all very like just like fun eaters, where it's like we ordered like 2 appetizers, we each ordered like an entree to like split.
It was like this big huge steak
skirt steak. Oh my gosh, it was delicious. Amazing. It was so good. So and I loved the vibe, like the atmosphere of that restaurant was so cool. The freaking George, the man himself, brought us out our food.
Mr. Wine Bar.
I was like, what the heck? That's the guy.
We're like, hey, this is the guy on the menu. What the?
It was cool. But yeah, it was really fun. It was a great experience. I liked it a lot. And then we kind of just like bopped around Disney Springs for the evening.
You got those things outside? The desserts? What were they?
Brianna and Corey got the, they were like s'mores.
Yeah, s'mores. That's what
at the ganachery. Yeah. We tried them. It wasn't like...
Not my favorite.
It wasn't my favorite thing ever, but they loved them. Yeah. They thought they were so good. So I was like, hey.
They were good. It's just like not our style.
Yeah, you know? It wouldn't be my top choice. And I like a s'mores, but it wasn't my top choice. But we went to Goofy's. I got a little Rice Krispie. That's like a tradition for me. I always have to get one of those like make your own Rice Krispies at Goofy's Candy Co. And yeah, it was really fun. It was a really fun day. Normally when we do Animal Kingdom in the morning, we do like another park at night, but I actually really liked doing Animal Kingdom the full day and then going and doing Disney Springs in the evening. I thought it was a really fun way to be able to do Disney Springs and like have a decent amount of time, because normally when we go to Disney Springs at night, we only really have an hour or so to kill. So it was really fun. I really liked it. And then that was our last day with Brianna and Corey, like full day basically. I know it was so sad, but we still had a few days left. So the next day we got up and we went to, where did we go? Epcot?
Oh, who knows?
Okay, so the next day, so this was the first day Austin and I were just the 2 of us again for the rest of the trip. We went to Hollywood Studios in the morning, which literally did not remember. I had to jog my memory here, but we did Hollywood Studios, and this was the day that we did like all the Galaxy's Edge stuff in the morning. This was a crazy morning, remember, because we got in, like we went for rope drop. We were there for rope drop. As we were walking in, they said, Rise is going to be a delayed opening. Rise will not be open. And we were like, dang it, that was our plan because we haven't done Galaxy's Edge. Like we were only coming to do Galaxy's Edge and then leaving. So we were like, well, let's just walk over there anyways and see. We'll do Smugglers instead, whatever.
Yep.
As we're walking past Rise and all the cast members are out front and there's people walking in. And we were like, well, people are walking in. Like maybe it's just like, maybe it'll open in a minute kind of deal, like whatever. So we just like walked in. Nobody said anything. We just walked through. We got in the first room, got in the second room. All of a sudden we were on the ride. We were like, what the heck? So we think that what happened was it was originally going to be a delayed open, but then the ride was up and running. And we were like, when we were getting on, both of us didn't want to say it out loud, but we were both thinking it in our head like, oh, well, maybe some of the animatronics aren't going to work because it's a delayed opening. Maybe something wasn't working, whatever. Everything was working. We were like, what the heck? This is amazing.
It was easy.
It was good. So we did that. Then we went over and did Smuggler's Run right away.
Yeah. And it was only us.
It was literally the two of us in the ship. So we were both pilots. We didn't have any gunners or anything. No. Just the two of us. And then we got off of that. We went to go have breakfast. We had breakfast. By the time we were done breakfast, it was the end of that 30 minutes in the morning.
Like, what the
It was crazy. I have never experienced such a productive thing. And I was like, oh my gosh, the park is not even the park just opened and we're ready to leave.
Yeah.
We were like, this was our only plan was to do this for a couple hours and we did it in 30 minutes. So we ended up, we literally just did that. We ended up going and having Woody's for breakfast. And then we literally left the park. Like we didn't do anything else.
Yeah.
So then we headed over to Epcot and we was just on the Skyliner. And then we just bopped around Epcot. We did a couple of the little pavilions that we didn't get to try when we
because we didn't make it all the way around the first day.
Yeah. So we did basically from France to Mexico is the way that we went. Because I think we missed from originally we had gone all the way to Japan and that's as far as we went that day. So we did between basically Japan and Mexico was what we did. We kind of just walked around, took it leisurely. We really didn't do a lot. I literally have a picture of me standing outside of Caramel Couche and I posted on the Instagram story and I said the podcast listeners know and everybody loved that. Everybody was like so we literally did that. I took pictures of the odd chalk art that is in each pavilion and then that's it. And then we left Epcot and it was around 2:00 I think was when we left. Oh no, it wasn't even. It was 12:30. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it was 12:30 when we left. And then we ended up texting Brianna and Corey and we were like, hey, what are you guys doing? Are you doing anything for lunch? And they were like, well, we're about to go to the Wailulu. Is that what it's called?
Yes.
Wailulu bar at the Polynesian Tower. And they were like, do you want to come for lunch with us? And we said, of course we do. So we went and had lunch with them. And that was really nice. I really liked having lunch with them. That was awesome. Because it was
almost, a nice send off.
Yeah, it almost felt like it was just weird that we were just well, we're leaving and they're leaving, but we're they're here all day and we're not going to see them. It just felt weird. So we ended up going and having lunch with them, which was really nice. We were planning on just popping in to say hi, but it just worked out that we left Epcot early and went and had a nice little lunch with them. Let me tell you, that Wailulu, oh my gosh.
The burger there is the best burger on property. It is phenomenal.
The burger was amazing. We did the pool day with them at the Cove Pool. We ended up ordering lunch there from the Wailulu to the pool, which was amazing. And we each got, I think you got the burger and I think Corey got the burger. And then Brianna and I each got bowls. And it was all delicious. But then when we went and had the sit down, all four of us were we're all getting the burger.
We'll get the burger.
And I never get a burger at Disney for a sit down. I never get a burger for a sit down. So it was amazing. It was very, very good. And it was just a really nice little moment. So that was great. At some point that day, I lost my sunglasses, which R.I.P.
It was funny when we had lunch because we finished eating and then we said bye. We're like, bye.
Yeah.
And then we walked outside and then we went down the steps in front of the new tower. And then we were actually going to go separate ways because the first time we said bye, it was fine. We were like, bye, whatever, blah, blah. We go down the steps and then we're going to turn away and then you and Brianna just start sobbing because it's actually the moment when you're actually leaving each other.
Yeah, it was sad.
It was
a sad moment, it was a wonderful trip with them.
Oh.
We had such an amazing time with them. It was truly they're the best people. We've obviously been very lucky and we've had great experiences with who we've traveled with to Disney World, but it was just, I think because the four of us just, the way we do Disney is so incredibly similar. It was amazing. Like we've gone with friends who like, well, like look at your sister, for example, like she liked to take a little bit more breaks than we did. And like, she liked to take it a little bit slower. And like, so that's a little bit different than us. Brandon and Heidi kind of are the same way, where they're more like go. Yeah, and we are like, we want to take at least like an hour, like of one break.
Yeah. So we were like on the same wavelength with Brandon and Corey like the whole entire time. Like there wasn't one time where one of us was like, we're gonna go do this, and we were like, we don't really want to do that. Like the whole time we were just like, it was great. Yeah, that's what we were thinking.
Yeah, it was really, really nice, and like it was really fun. And again, like we've had fun. You know, I'm trying to play like we have fun with all our friends, but like we do have fun with all our friends, of course. We've literally never had a bad trip to Disney World, but it was just like because it was so similar of a way that we all do Disney together. It was very nice.
I think also like because we've been so many times, like at this point we've been so many times, so it's just easier to like
just go with the flow.
Yeah.
I was thinking that too. It's like you feel less opinionated on what you want to do, because it's like
it's one like, of those hey, we things, did this before, we did that before. Yeah, we're gonna do it next time. Yeah. Like we're gonna do it.
And really, like, that has changed for me a lot ever since buying DVC, if I'm totally honest, because when we didn't buy a DVC, it was a thing where it's like, we hope we're coming back, but we don't really know, right? But because we have DVC, it's like, okay, we know we're at least going to come back like in the next year.
You would always say like our last day at each park, you'd be like, I don't know when I'm going to see this park again or do this ride again, whatever, blah, blah. But now it's just like, no, like we're doing it. Like,
at some point
we don't know when, but like we're doing it. So.
Yeah, exactly. So it was really fun. But so that day we said goodbye to them. It was a very sad send off. We ended up going back to our room. To be honest, we pouted in the room for a little bit. We were kind of like, we took a minute to kind of be like sorry for ourselves type of deal. And like normally we would just be like, okay, let's go to the next park. But we kind of sat in the room for a little longer than I would have liked to, but we needed it. We needed it in our hearts. So we sat in the room. I think maybe we opened a pin box. I don't know. I can't remember. But then we headed into the Magic Kingdom for the evening, which was really fun. Yeah. We didn't really plan on going to the Magic Kingdom, I don't think, because we had been already so many times, but it was like
we had already done Studios and Epcot.
Yeah, exactly. It's like we're right there, so it's like we might as well. So we headed into Epcot, or oh my gosh, we headed into Magic Kingdom. This was the day actually I got that make your own popcorn.
Yep.
Overhyped in my opinion, but anyways,
agreed.
I was like whatever. But yeah, we did a ton of stuff actually at Magic Kingdom that evening, and then we actually left Magic Kingdom early because that was the night that it was the deluxe evening hours. And we could have stayed until like midnight, and we were just tired. We were like, let's just go. It's too much. Let's go. The cats are playing.
They just moved
and they're moving the camera.
Sorry about that.
If you're watching.
If you saw me grab my phone like 10 minutes ago, it's because I was filming them.
We got to take pictures of the cats at all times, you know. But yeah, so anyways, we left Magic Kingdom early that day. We went to bed. We had a nice little evening.
Yeah.
It was nice. And then the next day we got up and nice bright and early. This was our last full day in the park. Like the next day was our technical travel day. But this morning we rope dropped Epcot. Apparently we did. I don't remember truly. No. At this point I'm like, I don't remember what we did. So we did Epcot. We did Moana, Journey of Water. We did Guardians of the Galaxy. And we did the paint by numbers again because I just love that so much. We did a little bit more festival stuff, and then we ended up leaving around lunchtime again this day, and we went and had Grand Floridian Cafe, as we said. I feel like this is something that I kind of like picked up on this trip, but when you're going to doing like a quick service at Disney World, you're already spending probably like $30 to $40 between the two of you. I would, at this point, as long as I'm not in a time crunch, I would rather sit down at a sit-down restaurant, pay the extra $10 to $20 to have like a nice sit-down meal and have like just like a little bit of an elevated food item. So that was nice that we sat down and we had the Grand Floridian Cafe.
Yep.
It was delicious. They only serve brunch. So basically it was like you could have got breakfast like the whole like afternoon kind of, or whole morning to afternoon type of deal. So it was all the same options that Brianna and I had seen when we went, but we got different items this time, like a little bit more of like sandwiches, and they were delicious. They were very good.
Yep.
And then after that, we went to Hollywood Studios for the evening. So we basically just did a lot of shows actually on this night. We did Muppet Vision. There was our final send off to Muppet Vision. I think we did Star Tours.
See ya.
Yeah, we did Star Tours. We did Frozen. We had our lovely grilled cheese, the buffalo chicken grilled cheese.
Yeah.
And then, very exciting, we got to spend the evening with my friends Aaron and Sarah. So that was really fun. So, if you don't watch my vlogs, I talk about Aaron ad nauseum.
Yeah.
Hey.
What? You do?
I just love her.
That's a good thing.
I just love her. But she lives in Florida. And so we got to meet up with her. And then her friend Sarah was visiting, who's also my friend. But she was visiting.
Also, shout out to Sarah for this hooking us up wonderful with this sweater. Piece.
But yeah, so we ended up getting to spend some time with them. We met up with them. I think they were like finishing up their dinner at Backlot, and we sat with them for probably like an hour and a half.
Yeah, we were just sitting there yapping away,
and it was so much fun. The four of us just hanging out, and I ended up buying pin boxes for both the girls because it is my fault that they've gotten back into pin boxes and unboxings and trading. So I was like, this is only right that I get you guys a pin box to say I'm sorry for getting you into this. So that was really fun that they opened some pin boxes, and then we ended up just kind of like walking around Hollywood Studios.
We just kind of like
did a little
made
bit
our
of
way over
trading,
to Fantasmic,
and then we went and watched Fantasmic together, and it was really, really fun. So yeah, that was a really fun experience. It's like it's so much fun getting to like just be with people who like the same stuff as you. And people that you've just like formed these relationships with that you would never have before. Yeah. And you've never actually met. Yeah. Like, it's just cool. Yeah, it was really fun. So that was really fun. It was, again, a very sad thing where it was like we only got to spend a few hours with them. And like I could have spent the entire day with them. I could have spent the entire trip with them. You know what I mean? Like it was just like, it was so much fun. The three of us, or four of us. The three girls. I was just there. It's okay. No, it's the four of us. Fine. The four of us hanging out. It was really fun. Yeah. But yeah, so that was great. And then we went home, and then it was our last day. Yep. So sad. And we spent our last day in, I was going to say in Flight of Passage. We spent our last day in Animal Kingdom. Mm-hmm. And let me tell you, we have never done that. We've never ended our trip on Animal Kingdom. Mm-hmm. That was hard for me. When we were leaving, like even thinking about it right now, I'm tearing up. But it was like to be at your favorite park on the last day. Whew, it's tough. It's a tough moment because I can tell. I know. I'm like really I'm still tearing up thinking about it. I was like, dang, like it is rough leaving here. But we did a million things at Animal Kingdom. We did lots of fun stuff. We did the safari. We did Flight of Passage. We watched the Nemo show, which we haven't watched in a long time. Mm-hmm. That was wonderful. And then we did Dinosaur. We parted ways. I'm looking at pictures of myself crying. And so we ended up leaving a little bit early because we were like, we finished everything in Animal Kingdom we wanted to do. We were like, we're just going to go back to the Grand Floridian and like do nothing basically. But at this point, it's like 1:30 and our flight wasn't until like 10 p.m. Like we weren't getting picked up until I think 7 o'clock or something. So we were like, we have so much time. I'm like, let's not just go back and sit at our hotel and mope. Like, let's make the most of this day. So we were like, okay. So then we were at Animal Kingdom and we said, you know what we should do? We've never done this before. Let's go to Port Orleans French Quarter. Mm-hmm. Let's get some Mickey beignets. Mm-hmm. And then we can jump on the boat, go to Disney Springs, and just take our time and then head back to our resort. Make our way back, yeah. So that is what we did. And it was amazing. Mm-hmm. French Quarter, first of all, gorgeous. I've never been to. I've never even seen like in person. I've just seen on like video and picture. It is the cutest little resort I've ever seen in my life. I was saying to Austin, if we ever like, of course, like we're DVC members, so normally we're going to stay at a deluxe resort. But if there's ever a moment where we have to stay at, like if we want to pay out of pocket to stay somewhere, or like if we're doing an extra trip or something, for some reason we would need to, stay at a hotel. Pay money to stay at a hotel. Yeah. I would 100% stay at French Quarter. It was the cutest little thing I've ever seen in my life. Yeah. So we had little beignets from there. We only got the 3 beignets and we should have gotten 6 because they were delicious. They were so, so good. I was so impressed with them. And I was nervous because when we had the Tiana's beignets from Magic Kingdom in September, we were like, these are not good. Like there's no, like what is the hype on beignets? But after having the Mickey ones from French Quarter, okay, I get it. And I would just like to also say, if you watched the vlog when we had the Tiana's beignets,
I looked very similar after we had these beignets to when I had those beignets.
Not as bad though, because we had a table that you could lean over.
Yeah, but it still wasn't a good situation. Well, powdered sugar
everywhere.
Absolutely everywhere.
And Austin gets everything on him anyway.
I do not.
He does. So it was just it was really fun. So anyway, so we had those. We bopped around the little gift shop at Port Orleans.
Yep.
And then
took the boat.
Oh, we took the boat to Disney Springs. That was really fun. I like taking the boat. I love a boat moment. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we took the boat and we went to Disney Springs and we ended up. What did we end up getting? We ended up getting a couple things because it was like those last minute like souvenirs for friends. Yeah. I think you got that hat for Corey because we had bopped into the golf area. Austin's like, let's just see what's still there. And there was a new hat that wasn't there the first day we were there. And he was like, 100% Corey would have got this if he was here. Yep. And he took a picture of it. And sure enough, Corey was like, yes, please get me that.
Yeah, I need that.
So we got that for him. I ended up getting another little souvenir for Austin's sister. Mm-hmm. And then our friend Alexis, I got her another little, one of those little keychains. The amount of plushie keychains we took home.
25 plushie keychains. It was ridiculous. And he's not
exaggerating.
It was ridiculous. You got them. Heidi got them. Claire.
We got one for Brianna. Alexis. Your sister.
Yeah. It was just absurd. And everybody wanted them all. I need them all. All these cats. I said, oh, Jesus. Heidi said, oh, I don't need the whole set. And then
just 2 of the 3.
And then we said, huh?
Yeah, we said, what, girl? You're getting all 3 of the cats. No, for real though, our suitcase, it was literally a quarter of my big suitcase was just plush keychains. It was absurd. Stupid.
Yeah.
It was great though. But yeah, so anyway, so we did that. We went to Disney Springs and then we headed back to our resort. And this is when we ended up. So in the morning when we left for Animal Kingdom, we brought all our luggage down. We dropped it off at Bell Services and they held on to it. When we got back to the Grand, we picked up all of our stuff. This was at around like probably 5 o'clock. We picked up our stuff. We ended up going and having showers at the pool shower at the Grand, which is something that we did on our last trip too. And I love it. It was great.
This is just like a general note.
If you're
just
staying
so
like
you know, if you're staying at if you check out, you can use the amenities for that day. Mm-hmm. So if you want to do something in the morning, if you have a later flight, there are showers and you can do your activities during the day, have a change of clothes, shower, change, and then be fresh and clean, ready for your flight home. So it's so nice because I would just hate
being in a park all day,
sweaty and then gross, getting on a plane. Even changing when you're sweaty and like it just would be a horrible experience for travel.
I'm sure your seat partners also would
not like that. Just gross. But there are showers and so it's so nice and refreshing. And it's just like you don't want to leave anyways, so just being able to be like clean and fresh, at least that like
and just like taking your time to leave too. So anyways, we ended up having little showers. We sat in the front like in the what's that called, reception lobby, in like the lobby
listen to the guy play the piano.
Yeah, it was beautiful. It was another great reason of why it's great to stay at deluxe resorts is that they all have those kind of like sit down lobbies, which was very nice. So we hung out there. I organized my pins, ended up trading with actually like a mother and daughter. They came over, they saw me organize pins and they were like, do you trade? And I'm like, yeah. So we ended up trading a bunch of pins, so that was fun. And then we ended up taking Mears home. This is again where Mears came in and I was like, what the heck is going on? I am an anxious person, okay? If that's something that you guys don't know, I'm an anxious person through and through. But they said that they were picking us up 2 hours before our flight, which normally in the past they would pick you up 3 hours. So already I was a little nervous. I was like, oh gosh, like I hope we get here enough time.
No, it was more than that. They weren't picking us up 2 hours before the flight.
Yes, look it up. That is what they picked us up. It was 2 hours before the flight. I couldn't believe it.
I don't think so.
So anyways, they would pick us up a little bit closer to the flight than I would have anticipated or wanted.
And let's just, for argument's sake, because we don't remember the time, let's say that was 6 o'clock.
Yeah, it wasn't. But yeah, let's say it was 6 o'clock.
They didn't actually pick us up until like 6:15.
Yeah.
They were like 15 minutes late with the bus.
Which you know that if you're on your way to the airport, you do need to be early. On time or early. Yeah. So I And
losing it.
I was nervous, but then Austin started appearing nervous, and that is what made me even more nervous.
When they say they're going to be there at a time, like they're normally pretty good, and so when it was like
no way to really contact them.
When it was like 5-10 minutes, I was like, okay, like they're probably almost here, and then it was like 12-13 minutes late. I'm like, are they not coming to pick us up? Like, what is happening?
And we were saying, like, if it was going to get to the 20-minute mark, I was like, you need to go inside and we need to talk to somebody because this is crazy. But they ended up showing up. There was literally one person on the bus, which I was like, why on earth are they so late?
Yeah. and it was everything was fine. There was no like we were early. We had dinner at the
time.
Airport because we still had time. Like it was all fine. It's just
again, I'm like, why are we waiting on mirrors? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, like you pay for the service. Like, just provide the service.
Yeah, and again, it's like if you would just order an Uber, like you wouldn't have that stress. So it's like it's one of those things where it's like, you know, is the $15 worth it to get to your resort a little bit quicker and to leave a little bit with less stress and less waiting? Maybe next time we go, we would order Uber just to try it out.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyways, so that was the end. That was the end of it. We ended up leaving a very late flight. We flew home. It was a beautiful, smooth flight on the way home, and that was that. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we're
unfortunately we got to wrap this up because the computer's about to die and it's not plugged in.
So with that, thank you guys so much for listening. We really hope you enjoyed this episode. Sorry to rush us out of here. But yeah, we really hope you guys enjoyed this episode for real. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. If you are listening on podcasts, give us a rating.
Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Mic'd Up Magic, Instagram, Magically Aussie, Magically Katelyn, and then Mic'd Up Magic Podcast.
Beautiful. Thank you guys so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed. Sorry for the rushing leaving, but we will be back in 2 weeks, we promise.
Yep.
All right.
Bye.
Love you guys. Bye.